Praise the Lord, and it's Lord who's back with another Lord video, and this time it's Meia Battle Tower. I'm showing a full lap from 245 to 249. Apologies in advance because some of these nodes were mobile recorded. Special apologies for node 245 because I only recorded half the boss fight, as you'll see. This was an extremely difficult boss fight which required ridiculous levels of RNG. It's pretty much tougher than $2 steak, etc, etc. So this was well over 100 attempts on this, and obviously I forgot to record half the fight, which is not very good, but suffices to say, tanked it for the first round, switched to the second round. Meia changed to fire element, I used crit resist down, just pumped out Garuda, and then just continued to nuke with extreme Shiva X. Had ridiculous levels of RNG on this. It was, my luck was ridiculous. I didn't have to ultimate once during this entire boss fight when I switched to my attacking deck. So I pretty much completed this with a turn to spare, which was unexpected. Sorry, with an action to spare, which was unexpected, but it's an incredibly hard fight. Node 5 was definitely the toughest node of a battle tower. There's not much else I can say about that, but that's how it's done. That's how the Lord does it. 245 never been completed on Japan, and managed to clear out on global. Not to brag or anything. And here we kick off into node 246. So the opening actions are pretty much your standard season 2 tactics. I just ultimate Sephiroth to refill my orb gauge to full rainbows. I'll use chaos to debuff the enemies, and standard boost and buffs to get more actions. Now literally all I'm doing now is trying to refill my ultimate gauge so I can ultimate again, because even though I've stunned the majority of enemies, only one enemy has slow, so I want to put slow on as many enemies as I can. But I mean, those little wizard type grudge monsters are ridiculously easy, so don't really have to worry about them, to be honest. As long as the big enemy, I can't remember his name at all, as long as he's fully debuffed, slow and stunned, that's absolutely fine. Can't really talk to tactics too much in this first round because it is incredibly easy. And all I'm doing is just building up my action gauge so that I can switch to my attacker, which is Pugilist, using Tifa skin. So I'm using Duncan. And a couple of support cards, just mainly Aerith to get chance 2 and a few actions. And Garuda for the extra 5 actions, and of course it's got jump cast reduction down 200, which is pretty nice as well. And as you can see, it's pretty easy so far. Just using Duncan to whip down this enemy. And then I can leave one little grudge shaman alive, just until my cooldown, my support cards go down a bit. So basically I want to get my cooldown and my support cards down to 1, so that I can enter the second fight. Obviously all my support cards off of cooldown, which is obviously a standard tactic, I don't really need to explain that to anyone, hopefully. And also I want to make sure that my Mobius gauge doesn't go too high, because I don't really want to go into Mobius zone at all before the final boss fight. It's just a waste of time building up a gauge again once it's been completed. It'll just make things more complicated. The only reason why you would ever want to go into Mobius zone in the first or second fight is if the first or second fight is extremely hard. Sometimes in battle towers, the opening fights can be harder than the boss fight itself, but this wasn't the case. I mean, Bamut's extremely easy, especially for Duncan. He'll go down pretty quickly, and he can be stunned as well. So that makes things extremely easy for unbroken spam attack, which I'll be attempting very soon.
How much can you take?
So I've ultimated, got him on stun lockdown, activating my buff cards, like so, but I still feel that I will go into Mobius zone when I spam my attack, so I just used Substrike with Duncan to increase my Mobius gauge before I've just jumped into my Duncan attacker like so. So my Mobius zone is virtually completely complete, which is absolutely fine tactic I'm going to do. So now it's just Duncan Unbroken spam, which Bandit's obviously very susceptible to. Obviously I could kill him, could kill Bama in a couple of turns, but obviously I want to stretch it a bit, so that my support cards come off cooldown when I go into the boss fight. And also before I go into the boss fight, if I'm clever, then I'll make sure to drive enough elements so that I can already go into the boss fight with some decent drives. Ideally 4 or 5, so that I can tank a lot easier. Not sure if anybody else had trouble, well, if anybody had trouble on this node, I should say, because it wasn't really that hard. I mean, I could see it being quite difficult if you didn't actually have a Light Supreme, especially if you didn't have Duncan.
Where did you find this strength?
So here we go. Bamat's almost dead. I can kill him with a Substrike. But I've got to make sure to ultimate before I go into the boss fight, because Meia will mirror my ultimate gauge going into the fight, so if I have full ultimate gauge, so will Meia, which obviously don't want to let happen. So I switched to my attacker to go into the final round. I mean, it's not as efficient for Mobius zone use, because I will complete my Mobius gauge quite a bit by doing that, but I don't actually need it for the first or second round, so that's absolutely fine. So I've just used Chaos to debuff Meia. Now I'm doing the unusual approach of using my support cards now, so I've boosted my actions up to 20. You'll see why I'm doing this very soon.
It's time.
So Meia can do some damage. I'm not that worried, but she can do quite a bit of damage with Chain Magic Fire. So with all those extra actions, I've got more turns to basically survive in between the attacks. So my tactic against Meia, she takes 3 turns before she'll switch to a dark element, and when she switches to a dark element, that's when I can nuke her with Duncan. A pretty standard unbroken
Not yet. I'm just getting started.
last action spam attack, which I'll show you very shortly. As long as I survive a couple more turns, which, spoiler alert, I do. They could have asked me, why didn't you just do a Duncan spam on the first turn? You would have been nuking a neutral element, because you'd be using Duncan and Light Supreme against Meia, who's a wind element. I probably could have done about 33 to 50% damage, which is pretty good, but I can kill Meia in 1 turn with a Duncan spam, so I don't really have to do that tactic. If Meia had more HP, then I'd have to do double spam attack combo like that, but don't really need to. So here we go. So this node's wrapping up very quickly. So Meia's going to change to a dark element, and at that point I'm going to use Sephiroth's ultimate attack to stun her. I'm going to use my support abilities, then I'm going to switch to my Duncan attacker and pop some support abilities, then I'm just going to nuke until Meia's dead. So that's pretty much it.
How much can you take?
So Meia is stunned now. Stunned in the presence of the Lord. Now switched.
Let's go.
There we go. So good.
Stop me.
Don't worry. Just leave it to me.
There we go. I used Mobius zone just so that I could hit the Mobius zone at the right time, most beneficial time, but it doesn't really matter. It's trying to be too much of a perfectionist. This is pretty easy boss fight, so I'll have many actions remaining after I kill him. As you'll shortly see, this was probably the easiest node of the tower, so at 246 it wasn't really that difficult. It wasn't that difficult because Meia can be stunned. And she does have some pretty decent attacks, but she doesn't have any attacks that will one-shot me, so I can pretty much tank whatever she can dish out. So Mobius zone 18 action, she's down to about 20% off, so pretty easy. You can see Duncan must be the must be supreme amongst supremes. Season 2. Very heavily favoured so far in the battle towers we've had so far. And that is that. So that's node 246 done. Hopefully we move on to a more interesting node. So node 247, Lord is back again. Lord is back, tell a friend. So I'm going to pretty much do exactly the same I did last round. It's pretty much the standard opening tactics for first round of any battle tower in Season 2. You're going to use Sephiroth as your tank because he can debuff the enemy to a ridiculous level. Plus he's got stun and slow more specifically, so you can lock down the enemies very easily. So just have to build up my actions now, so I get 2 Mobius zone actions, then I can switch to my attacker, like so. So my attacker here, it's Hall of Fame Squall, so best character in Final Fantasy ever, more specifically from Final Fantasy VIII. And I'm using King of the Dark, Final Fantasy XI. Supreme ability. So it's a dark attack. So it's pretty decent card because AoE. Damage multiplier starts off at 1, and then every single cast I do up to 10 increases that multiplier up to 2. So basically every attack I'm doing, I'll do a little bit more damage. So what that means is a tactic where you're going to take the enemy down to its last action and then buff your quicken actions by using cards such as Aerith, Garuda, etc. Will be a good tactic to use because you want as many actions as you can. So the weapon I'm using here is Gunblade. I'm not using the other newer weapons that has plus 70% critical damage boost and prismatic return because Gunblade has exploit weakness, so it actually does more damage. And even though you don't have prismatic return from the weapon, you do get 20% prismatic return from your Hall of Fame panel 4 score, so you're stuck with 20% prismatic return, which isn't amazing, but in a battle tower you're going to run the same node multiple times if you don't get the right RNG, so 20% is absolutely fine. So we move on to the second node, and obviously we're against a light enemy, so King of the Dark is going to do a lot of damage to it. So just done the standard Season 2 tactic of debuffing with Sephiroth and using my support cards. So there we go. So I've got 11 actions. It's not that much, but this enemy is pretty easy. I'll kill him on the second round if I want to, but on the stretch of fight as long as I can, so that I'm going to the boss fight with my cooldowns off. see every attack I'm doing, it just gets a little bit stronger. You can see the damage going up. And this is a pretty easy fight because Alexander can't really do much damage to me when I switch to my tank, so I'm in no real danger in this fight. So I've got a high Mobius zone gauge, but that's intended. So I've cut that down a bit by switching jobs on the very last action.
I bring despair to the promised land. Let's just get this enemy stopped.
So on the next Meia fight, I'm not intending to nuke her in the first round, so my Mobius gauge doesn't really have to be that high. And I'm just using Substrike to finish him off, like so. So I'm entering the boss fight, all my support abilities are off cooldown. Mobius gauge is about what I want, so that's fine. So I'll start off and use Chaos to debuff the enemy. And my tactic is to tank Meia for 2 whole turns, then on the third turn she will switch to a light element, I should say. Then I can do a standard King of the Dark spam attack like I did for the first and second rounds. So it did some damage that time, had nice prismatic return. So I'm not really in much danger here. You may ask why I didn't just use my ultimate to stun Meia before she changes to a dark element. It would have made tanking easier. It's because if I do that, I'd have to tank Meia a few times while she's at light element. And sometimes she will drive Dark Orb so that my King of the Dark spam attack will not be that effective. So here we go. This is it. So as you can see, this fight will have some pretty nice RNG. My ultimate gauge is full now, so if I need some more dark orbs I can just ultimate to reset my orb gauge to full rainbows, which I'll do right now. So now I can keep spamming King of the Dark, let good times roll. As you can see, my attacks do a little bit more damage each time. And I should, there we go, go into Mobius zone before this turn ends. Now unfortunately I had to tap attack 2 times to refill my dark orbs. Usually that at high levels that means a failed run, but I had some pretty good prismatic return earlier, so I thought I'd just continue to see if I could kill Meia. I wasn't too confident, but yeah, I'll let you be the judge if it was a successful run. So all those attacks in the Mobius zone, I was nuking with King of Dark, and it's fully powered up, so it has a 2 damage multiplier, so that's quite important. So that's a nice little help from Echo there. Give me a couple of extra dark elements. So here we go. Just a few more hits, but only 4 actions left. Can the Lord do it? This is what battle towers are like at the highest levels. It's just a difference between 1 action. There we go. Very last action. I managed to get it done. Now, as you saw earlier, I did waste a couple of actions, so that could have been a little bit better, but did the trick. So here we go, back again. This is node 248. So this is just the boss node. The first 2 rounds were not that interesting, although Adra, I can't pronounce his name at all, Adramalich, the wind enemy, is pretty difficult to tank. I had to tank him for something ridiculous, like about 12 turns, which meant I had to survive his ultimate attack by using the Warrior of Light card for his Divine Shield, so that I could survive his attack. Unfortunately, I just had to blur something out of the top screen because Apple decided to send me a little message that my recent invoice was successful or blah blah blah. So my home address just flashed up. I had to blur that out for obvious reasons. I don't want to censor my videos, but I don't want any crazy fans turning up at my doorstep at 2 AM banging on my window asking for an autograph. You know, these things do happen, unfortunately. So yeah, this is it. So talking more specifically about the setup I'm using to attack right now, I'm using X-Mage and using Fiosa to attack. I'm using 2 Aeriths to increase the prismatic return. And it's not really that difficult, you just have to get good prismatic RNG. So for previous nodes I used Vanadil Monk and the Fire Ifrit card, Extreme Ifrit X. Don't know what it's called, Dunfrit or something, that's what people call it, but I used that, but it was really running out of steam and I had to get perfect RNG to be able to proceed any further, and it just got to the point where I didn't have enough actions to actually kill Meia. So I had to look at other options, and X-Mage has pretty nice fire damage and it has a good helping of exploit weakness damage as well, so it does quite nice damage to water enemies. I did try and use Neo Bahamut using Hall of Fame score, but I didn't really find it to be that effective, and I did try Tactician as well with Fiosa. I mean, it was more effective on Meia, on the boss, but when you fight an Adramalich, the enemy I can never pronounce, he's neutral, so you're doing absolutely poor damage against him. It's just made the fight just so long. But fortunately, X-Mage got it done. Did it with 1 action to spare as well, so could have done another lap, or 2 potentially, for that node. So that's 248 done. Done and done. Okay, the very last boss fight that I'm going to show you is boss fight 249. This was fairly tricky. It wasn't amazingly hard, but it did require quite a bit of prismatic RNG. Fortunately, I didn't record the music in game, so you have to get this weird, trippy, new age music. I don't know what kids listen to, but hopefully this will do. And just to talk about tactics for this boss fight, I did use Eswarian Paladin. I can't pronounce it, I'm sorry. I used that Paladin because it could drive light, and basically because it had access to light, it meant that I could go into the final boss fight already with light force, which was pretty useful because then I can just basically switch to my attacker and still have light orbs to nuke with. Then I can use my light force ability to regain my light orbs. And that meant that I could have more Duncans to attack with, or Duncan attacks to use, I should say. And this boss is crit resist immune, so there was no point in me using my ultimate attack during this fight, because when I have a full ultimate gauge I can do a tiny bit more damage with Duncan, which was my strategy for this fight. So I wanted to resist the urge to use my ultimate until the very last moment when it became absolutely necessary. So I hit the Mobius zone and I didn't have to ultimate. So So that was quite useful, because then I can use my Mobius zone to regain my light orbs by using Duncan, because it'll give me 1 light orb every time I use it, plus there's a chance I can get prismatic return to fill them up even more, which I don't seem to be getting, but that's okay. So the node's wrapping up, and more to the point, the video is also wrapping up, so I'll just wrap up my commentary as well. This was a pretty fun battle tower, and unfortunately I didn't get the chance to record every single node in Steam, which would have looked a little bit better, but hopefully you find videos that are recorded by mobile informative, and hopefully you learn a few new tricks that you wouldn't have ordinarily learned by watching my video. And just to wrap things up then, so well done to everyone that finished in the top 9, well done to everyone that finished in the top 50, top 500, top 1000, etc. Hopefully you guys played legit, played fairly, which is the way to play Mobius, and didn't see too many hackers around my rank, so hopefully everyone else's experience mirrored my own. And hope you guys enjoyed the video, and this is the Lord signing off.